The Magicians Podcast is brought to you in proud association with the Magic Circle, Alakazam Magic, and Gigio.
I mean, there's a lot of people doing the cups who aren't even magicians, and that really...
really?
That really kind of makes
me mad. So they're literally just some guy who's learned it?
Some of them can just learn it and just do it, and that's really infuriating.
Yeah. Yo, it's my life, my time, my rights, my rhymes, my grind, my struggle, hustle, sweat in my blood too. I'm ready to smell fear, I smell a lot. My competitors flex here, cause they smelled I was hot. I want it all, excess, the sex, much success, stress us. I want it all, no less, so come on.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Magicians Podcast. My name is Richard Young, I'm your host. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've had a great week. We're here every single Friday with a brand new episode. Make sure you press the subscribe button, that way you won't miss a thing. You can connect with us on social media. We have a Twitter page and a Facebook page. Just search either for the Magicians Podcast. My guest this week is Billy Kidd. She's done loads and loads of things already. Street performer, stage performer, done loads of television work, and she's also one of the contestants on the upcoming ITV1 show, The Next Great Magician. I went and met Billy in Bath. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this one. It's a really fun hour with Billy Kidd. So it's a new day, and it's a very lovely day here in Bath. And I'm here with Billy Kidd. Hello, Billy.
Hello.
Hello. I'm in a great mood today, by the way.
Good.
We've been having
sunny.
Yeah, it's sunny. We're in Bath, and we've just been chatting about all the gossip in magic, which was good.
Yeah, lots of gossip.
That would have made a good podcast in itself.
I thought we might have been recording through that.
No,
it's a shame you weren't, because we said everything.
We did, and I think if it got out publicly, neither of us would ever work again.
Probably not. Whatever.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
No, thanks for having me.
And have you ever listened to a podcast? Be honest, say no.
I have, actually.
Have you listened to it?
I am a subscriber. I've listened to them all.
You're kidding.
Having said that, this will be the only podcast I won't listen to.
Oh, that's very smart, yeah. Although some guests tell me they do listen to their own podcasts, which I find a bit weird, to be honest.
Wouldn't even dream of it. Never. No.
Have you actually listened to a few of these, genuinely?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who have you listened to?
I think all of them.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I'm
There's
up to date.
60 odd.
I'm up to date on them, yeah.
Wow.
I do nothing during the day.
I didn't expect that. I was really expecting another. I've never heard of this. I don't know what I'm doing here.
I know what's going on.
I'm in a good mood today. You in a good mood today?
I'm in a very good mood today.
Got your sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Because it's a sunny day here in Bath.
Sunny day.
So we met. I think it was the first time we met at Dynamo in December, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were both there to see the show. And we were taken backstage. We had a little chat, and you told me you're from Edmonton, and I said Alberta, Canada. And you were surprised that I knew the whole address. It's very cold there, right?
It's freezing there.
And you told me you moved here for the weather.
I did.
That can't be true, sure.
It is true. No. Well, okay, I know you Brits always complain about the weather here, but you really have it really, really easy.
You think?
Very much so. Like, a bit of rain, who cares? Right. But the weather to me here is the best of all worlds. Because you get your season still, but it doesn't really snow here.
Yeah.
From what, I know proper snow here, it's nothing. It doesn't ever happen, so quite happy.
You've been here 8 years now.
Yep.
You set up home. Are you going to move on at any point, or is this home now for you?
I have no idea. I can't plan ahead. No? I just kind of go with the flow with where I'm at. And so far, 8 years here in Bath has been working okay for me.
Yeah. So I've been doing research. When I say that, generally what I mean is actually I've just read your website.
There's not much on there either.
No. So my understanding is your background, actually you were a child actor. Mm-hmm. And that was your job as well. So what was that like?
It was the best job ever, actually. Since I was about 5 or 6, I always knew I wanted to be an actor, and I was very meticulous, and I planned everything. When I was 11, I realized that there were a lot of professional productions in Canada where they sometimes needed to hire kids, and you got paid, and you got to skip months and months of school, and I basically did that from 11 till I was about 18, and then got into the theatre school that I wanted to get into in Canada, and from there just kept doing theatre, and that was my only job.
Is it easier to get gigs as an actor or a magician in your experience?
As a magician.
Is it really?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah?
I've realized more so being out of the acting business that it's way easier to get gigs as a magician than an actor. In fact, if I stayed an actor in Canada or anywhere in the world, it'd probably get harder and harder the older I got.
Okay. So tell us some of the best acting gigs you did Come on, this is the moment where you can. I know we're going to talk about this later, but Billy hates magicians with egos.
Yes.
So I don't know. This is the bit we have to talk about yourself, though. So
I know, it's so awkward. Okay, like some of the best acting gigs I've had.
have you done commercials?
I have, yeah.
What
Mostly in Canada, which we don't really do. We don't really make a lot of television in Canada, but
Okay. What were
Yeah.
the commercials you did?
oh my gosh, something to do with like health and safety. It sounds
Brilliant.
It sounds so boring. I remember doing some Canadian like sitcom kind of TV show about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember I had to wear a wig and I had to wear a dress. Two things I hated the most.
You don't like wearing dresses?
I don't wear a dress at all.
Okay.
I've never had long hair, so that was a problem.
Is there some conflict between you and Laura London because you both have a little bit of red hair going on?
No, that's just completely by coincidence, I think.
How was it?
Yeah, actually, when I go to a hairdresser's, I let them do whatever they want. I just say, go for it.
Yeah.
Do what you want. So, it is what it is.
That's good. Who's got a bigger ego, actors or magicians?
Magicians. Yep.
Can't wait to get to this part of the conversation. This is why it's worth hanging around till part 2 after the adverts, because we're going to talk about magicians with their egos. So when did you... So you came into magic very late, didn't you? That's my
Yeah.
understanding. So how long now have you been doing magic for?
Pretty much since I moved here. So,
Right.
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say how old you are?
I can say how old I am.
Because I asked you earlier and you ignored the
I
question.
hate it. Oh, I hate it because... Yeah, so I just turned 33.
Okay.
It sucks.
Why?
You know when you go from 29 to 30?
It's a bad
And
day,
the first
that.
time someone asks you when you're 30 how old you are, switching from I'm 20 something to just
Yeah.
it changes your life, I think. Did for me. I was like, I can't say
Do you know, it was the only time I ever had a birthday party when I turned 30.
Really?
I had a birthday party, yeah. There were some big names there. Ed Hilson was there.
Wow.
Who else was there? Strange was there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
huge.
I had a little birthday party because I figured that I'd never had a wedding, so I could have a good birthday party.
I have never had a birthday party. Probably not since I was like, 8 or 9.
When's your birthday?
December.
December. Oh, Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas birthdays
Yeah,
are
it's
rubbish,
horrible.
aren't they?
Yeah.
No, that's bad news. Is it really close to Christmas as well?
No, it's early December.
Fair enough. How did you get interested in magic then? So at that point you would have been like 25, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It was kind of a very slow process, I think. So, like I said, I've always wanted to be an actor, and I made my entire life to become the best actor that I could. And literally the month right before I started theatre school, and in Canada, there's 2 very big theatre schools that most actors would want to get into. And I was very fortunate that I got into this one when I did. And literally a couple weeks before I started school, this big moment in my life, a friend of mine showed me this trick, and he's not a magician at all. And I thought this was like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Stupid in a good way, because it was so funny to me, this trick.
What was the trick?
It was the ball and vase trick, like for 8-year-olds.
It's a great trick.
No, it was great, but because I could figure it out afterwards, I just thought it was so stupid. But all I remember is it made me laugh. Like I could not stop laughing because of what the trick was, and then also the method behind it. And that was it. And then 4 or 5 years after then, I finished school. I'm now like a real actor because I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
And funny enough, one of my first gigs after theatre school was working at a street performers festival in Canada, and there was a magician there. And it was the first time, I have a life now. I don't have to be in school anymore. And I saw this magician doing the cups and balls. His name was Nick Nicholas. He now lives in Australia, I think. And that was the moment. I was like, what is this magic man? And what is this thing called magic? And I thought it was amazing. And it was, right. He told me right then and there, he's like, if you want to become a magician, go and find Royal Road to Card Magic, which I did like the next day in a used bookshop. And I was like, this is a sign of something. But it took me about 2 years after seeing him perform. I'm pretty sure I went through some deep depression of like 2 years still working in the theatre because all I could think about was magic and how was I going to get out of being an actor in Canada, which is all I ever did. And it was 2 years after then, so that's when I moved here.
So why did you move here though? I'm confused.
Well, because I saw this street performer and he was a magician, I got interested in streets as well as magic, which to me are 2 completely separate things. So I found the only way I could really learn how to perform magic, and because I'm not a magician and no one knows who I am, was by street performing.
Right.
Because the Canadian, weather system is absolutely horrible, and there's not a lot of tourists where I live. There's no pitch at all or anything. So it was hard for me to learn how to become a magician because I couldn't street perform. So I was looking for a place where the weather was perfect, where I could try this, where there's tourists.
Florida.
I did end up going to Florida and for about 6 months out of the year and that place is not my favorite place at all, but it's like Lord of the Flies for street performers.
Okay.
It's really gritty and it's probably one of the hardest pitches to work, but if you learn there, you can work anywhere. So I went to Florida for 6 months.
But did you come? Sorry, because that was it.
Yeah.
You actually came to London first, did you? Or
I came here to visit. One of my best friends lives in Bath. I came here for a day.
Was it Noel Britton?
It wasn't Noel.
No.
Noel's a lot older than me.
There's only 2 magicians I know who lived here, and that's Noel Britton and Andrew O'Connor lived here for a while, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And Gazzo lives here.
Gazzo lives here occasionally. That's when he's in town.
So who did you come to visit?
One of my best friends from Canada, actually, who's a writer named Emma Hooper.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so she was living here. I visited her for a day. I saw there was no magicians working the street, and it was February, and I remember the weather was just lovely. I was like, I think I could be a magician here. So yeah, I moved here a year after that.
So this is amazing. This is amazing because I don't think I've told you this, but in 2009, I was going out with a girl. And she screwed me over. That's another story, okay? But the point is that she came here to Bath for the day with her mum. And when she came back that night, she said, I saw an amazing magician in the streets here. And it was you. She had your card. So there you go, 2009.
Yeah.
My ex-girlfriend, who screwed me over, did I mention that? She saw you and she thought you were amazing. But at that point then, you'd only been doing it like a matter of months.
Yeah. No, that would have been very recent. It's funny how many times people I've met nowadays who've been in my shows in Bath, Andrew O'Connor being one of them, who's told me, yeah, he was in my show. He was like, he could have been a volunteer. I don't remember at all because I didn't know who he was. He was in my show, my street show in Bath when he lived here.
I don't know if you know this, but he sold his house for $13 million. So how much money did he put in your bucket?
I wish I could remember. I wish I could remember. It's like literally like it must have been so long ago.
Yeah.
And who else was in my show? They told me. I can't remember. Some other magicians. I didn't know who they were because I didn't know anybody here. So.
Wow.
So the truth comes out.
So what was your set street performing initially? Did you just learn the cups and balls like everybody else, or did you do something different?
No, I basically just did card tricks and then I learned the cups and balls.
Okay.
And the cups and balls, yeah, it's just, unfortunately, it's just one of those tricks that really, really work on the streets. I mean, it's actually kind of it's a very good tool to learn that trick if you want to do street performing because technically it's kind of easy, but it really teaches you how to gather a crowd and keep them, and you don't have to be worried about the magic side because it's such a strong effect anyhow. So that's kind of to me what the cups is, but since then, of course, the show has changed a lot.
Yeah. So here's something I want to talk to you about because you're the right person. Back in the day when I started doing these podcasts, I interviewed like Pete Wardell and I was very polite, okay? But now I'm asking tough questions because it's season 3. Why do all street performers do the cups and balls?
Why do they do it, the cups and balls? Well, I think for one, it works.
Right.
It just works on the street. I mean, anyone who doesn't even know how to do the cups and balls, if you just put out a table and put 3 cups, it's so weird. People just stop and watch it.
Right.
Also, I believe for magic, it makes you a lot of money.
Should it be banned?
I kind of wish it was, yes. Because what happens is, because it makes you a lot of money and because you can be kind of like a paint-by-number magician by doing the cups. I mean, there's a lot of people doing the cups who aren't even magicians, and that really...
Oh, really?
That really kind of makes
me
me
they're literally just some guy who's learned it.
Some of them can just learn it and just do it, and that's really infuriating. And street performing, there is a formula in a way. When you learn the formula, you go, okay, I got to do this, 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 and that, and then all of a sudden you're making, making some good cash. And again, with that, all of a sudden you can easily get an ego because you think you're this hot shot performer because you can get a crowd to make money off of people. And the downside of that is it doesn't change. Like you could, no offense guys, but you can go to Covent Garden and see everyone doing the same show with the same lines and everything because it makes the money. And that's about it. That's about it.
Wow. So after this today, I'm going to the Magic Circle and we're doing room 101. And we're going to try and put the invisible deck in room 101 because it's the same thing. Everyone just does it. Everyone does it the same way. It's a bit embarrassing. Just let you know I do it as well.
That's right.
It's bad, isn't it?
I do a version as well.
Yeah. So do you still do the cups and balls now, or?
Do you know what? The only place I actually really do the cups is in Bath.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just sometimes. I don't do it anywhere else.
Yeah. So who is your favourite street performer?
Oh, my favourite street performer is not a magician. Is a guy from the Netherlands named Peter Post.
What does he do?
His show is a show. I remember seeing it because people you either get it or you or you hate it. And if you hate it, you'll walk away. And this whole show is really about telling people he can't do anything, and he takes out a gun and points it to the audience and tries to get people to leave, and people get really offended by it if they don't get it, but if you get the humor, it's the funniest thing ever. And yeah, he starts, if no one leaves, he puts the gun to his head and starts reciting Shakespeare to get people to leave. And it's one of those shows that you're watching and you're going, when people leave, that's what he wants.
Right.
In a really weird way. Like, it's one of those shows that is too good that it doesn't even make money.
I see.
I think he's one of my favorite shows I've seen.
I'll have to look him up. Is he on YouTube?
I doubt it. I
Oh,
doubt
really?
it.
I found a couple of days ago, Rob James found some kid had just posted a video of me on YouTube doing a terrible trick at a wedding, trying to get it taken down. It's embarrassing. So you started in London, and so you went straight to Covent Garden.
No, I came straight to Bath.
Sorry, straight to,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
went straight to Bath, and then have you done Covent Garden and other places? Have you done the Edinburgh Fringe? Have you...
I've done the Edinburgh Fringe. I don't do Covent Garden just because I'd rather not. If I don't have to travel to street perform, I'd rather not. So I just mostly do it in Bath.
So you still perform here in Bath now?
Yeah.
How often? When can people see you?
In the summertime, hopefully every single day. But if not, Saturdays, Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereabouts are you? Outside the cathedral here, or
Wherever there's a free spot, basically.
wherever the police are not? Is that basically the way it works?
Wherever there's no musicians, because they're.
Are you just so just for people who don't know, because I've never done it, are you just allowed to do it, or do you have
Yeah.
to get permit? or
No,
anything?
in Bath, you're really lucky here. You don't need any permits. You can just basically show up and do whatever you want.
So is there a lot of you guys here where you're having to kind of agree times, or
There's a lot of musicians. You got to work with musicians. They're another story. But as far as magicians or any variety goes, there's very few of us in Bath.
Yeah.
Bath is a hard pitch. I think a lot of people fail when they come here. So
Why?
it's just very hard. I think just the way the city is set up, and also you get a lot of like tourists, but like the wrong types of tourists. They're on a bus and they're going to Stonehenge and Windsor Castle, so they're only here for a short amount of time. So you really have to kind of play with attention spans and stuff.
Is it because Noel Britain's got the place sewn up with the walk?
And he does, yes.
Does
His
he?
purple leaflets everywhere.
So I didn't mention at the beginning of this, but we're actually sat here in the new magic venue here, which is...
Yeah.
I'm still a bit confused because it's upstairs it's called one thing and downstairs it's called something else. But you work here as well sometimes?
Yeah, so I basically co-run a little like parlor magic theater called Crowd Keepers, which is upstairs of a pub basically called the Ale House. And the owner of the Ale House is a magician who runs the magic bar, which is downstairs, called Slight.
And just to add to the confusion, there's also a bar in the middle as well, which doesn't have any magic, which is on the
No.
ground floor.
Yeah.
So if you come in, if you go downstairs, it's called Slight,
Yes, it's Slight Magic Bar.
and upstairs
And
it's
upstairs,
called...
Crowd Keepers, which is a ticketed kind of performance venue that we do shows every single Saturday here.
So you don't need a ticket to go in the downstairs bar?
No.
Okay, and in there they'll see close-up magic.
Yeah.
Do you work in that bar as well?
Occasionally, sometimes,
Okay.
yeah.
And upstairs, you said it's Saturday and Sunday?
Every single Saturday.
Every Saturday,
Yeah.
and they get two magicians at least?
One or two magicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely little room, actually. We're sat here now. You get about 35 people in here,
We
I
can
think.
squeeze 35 in here, and yeah, sometimes we do 2 shows in the summertime just because it gets so packed in Bath with tourists and stuff. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have your own place to play every week.
Yeah. Is it a good gig?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So much fun. It's like, yeah, it's almost like a dream come true just having your own place where you can basically practice and perform stuff every week and try new stuff out. So that's kind of why we created it.
Brilliant. So let's talk about your travelling days. So you've been all around the world. You've done the Adelaide Fringe as well.
Adelaide
haven't you?
Fringe Festival,
Where,
yeah.
where have I missed?
Where have I been? I've been, Adelaide Fringe is a recent place. Edinburgh Fringe, of course. I've done a lot of performances in Japan and Dubai and Oman, of all places. Pretty much all over Europe, America, Canada. Yeah. A lot of places.
So this is because the next thing we're going to talk about is that you've done so much television stuff, like in comparison. So what happened? Did someone just see you on the street? Where did your first TV opportunity come from?
It's very strange. So yeah, when I moved here, I was on Magic Week. They were looking for magicians for the O2 advert for the Load and Go card, and I just
This
remember,
was like 2011, something like
no,
that.
this is like 2008, 2009.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Right
so
back,
pretty.
okay.
I remember it being less than a year when I got here, because I was like, "What's this?" And I called them, going, "Is it okay if I'm a girl? And is it okay if I have a Canadian accent?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's totally fine." I was like, "Okay." Didn't tell them I was new into magic. Just thought, whatever. I'll just go in and audition. And I went into this audition, and it was. For me, it was like one of the most comfortable settings, because as an actor, I'm just so used to going into these auditions all the time. It's just like I feel very at home in those kind of environments. and I could tell with all the other magicians who were auditioning, whoever they were, it was very different for me because I'm like, these magicians, they don't know how to come to an audition, like just purely by what they were wearing for this audition, and I just somehow I got it.
What were they wearing?
Like suit and ties and stuff.
Oh, right. Did it have playing card ties or
anything that just made them look like a magician, which isn't really what you want to really look like if you're going into a television audition. In my opinion, I don't think that's right.
Or should you wear just normal clothes?
Just your normal clothes, whatever's going to represent you the most.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just did this advert for O2, and they called me the next day and were like, "You got it."
Wow.
It was like, happy days, great.
Yeah.
So I guess that for me, as a magician, that was like my first, like, I guess, big kind of TV thing.
Yeah. And then from there, you have done Wizard Wars. You've also done the Discovery Channel Breaking Magic.
Breaking Magic, yeah.
That's gone everywhere,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I don't even know where it goes. Yeah, and the same thing. It's just like
an audition process again.
Breaking Magic, I think, was the next thing I did over here, where again they were just looking for a bunch of magicians. And it was the Discovery show, and same thing, I'm a girl. Doesn't matter if I have a Canadian accent. Like,
I got to talk to you about this, because, I mean, you've mentioned it twice now. You mentioned you're a girl, and...
that is debatable to some people.
Well, no, it's not at all. You're a girl, okay? So, I mean, let's be honest. Can I ask you a question? Do you think it has provided you with lots of opportunities, you being a girl, in terms of, like, television stuff and things like that? Because you've got a unique... There's not many of you, are there?
No.
I mean, 5-6 girl magicians I could name,
yeah.
I guess, who are professionals to your sort of level. Do you think it's been a help or a hindrance at times?
I don't really think of it so much as far as like booking a gig. It all goes like that. I don't think it's an advantage because I'm a girl, or the fact that they're just looking for a girl. So I find it worse if they're looking for a girl, and I get it because there's so few of us. Because to me that doesn't it's not really based on my skill. Then I'm going to be the token ethnic female in the show. Like I know what boxes I tick, but
right.
Hopefully that's not why I'm getting booked. Maybe it is, but I can never really say. So yeah, I don't think lay people realize that being a female magician is a rare thing, because they don't think like that.
So when you perform for the public, let's say you're doing a bit of close up downstairs, when you go over and you introduce yourself as a magician, do people ever say, "Oh, you're a girl"?
Never.
No. That's interesting.
No, because I don't think they think like we do, because we're in the industry, so we go, "Oh, there's so few females in this." But if I mention something about that to lay people, then they will start to think. Then they will go, "Oh, you know what? You're right. I've never seen a girl do this before."
That's interesting.
So yeah, you kind of have to. If I want them to know that, I have to educate them. But really, it's not really a thing.
So to be honest, you would rather just not mention it and not.
No.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We're going to take a commercial break shortly, by the way.
Sure.
We've got some adverts. Are you on Gigio?
Nope. But you can tell me all about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about it right now. Here's some messages from our sponsors.
The Magicians Podcast brought to you in association with the Magic Circle, the world's premier magical society. Are you ready to join the world's most exclusive magic club? Visit themagiccircle.co.uk to find out more.
Gigio, free for 30 days. Be a pro, get Gigio.
Yes. Gigio, my friends, is a web-based software designed for professional and semi-professional entertainers anywhere in the world. It's web-based, so it means you don't have to take your computer with you when you go on holiday this summer. You can use the hotel lobby computer to log in to arrange all of your gigs. It generates PDF contracts and invoices, it tracks your payments, and even updates the diary on your phone automatically. You can read what others are saying about it and take a free 30-day trial right now at gigio.co.uk. Gigio is spelled gigio.co.uk. There's a brilliant new feature recently been added to Gigio, which is email scheduling. You know how you get those annoying emails from your clients the week before the event asking that you're still definitely coming and everything's okay? Well, you can beat them to it now. Schedule an email to be sent to them at a time that you decide so that they won't bother you with those annoying emails. Go to the website right now and take the free 30-day trial. That's gigio.co.uk.
Whether you're new to magic or a seasoned professional, Alakazam Magic are here to help. Alakazam have been supplying magic to magicians for well over 20 years. Not only do we carry all the latest and greatest magic tricks, books and DVDs, but we also manufacture one of the finest ranges of magic tricks in the world. The Alakazam name is synonymous with great customer service, educated advice, and honesty. So if you're shopping for new magic, make sure you check out our website, www.alakazam.co.uk, or pay a visit to our fully stocked shop.
So we were just having a little chat there in the commercial break. So you were saying you were in Wales last week?
I was in Wales last week.
Where were you in Wales?
I was in Cardiff and Swansea.
Cardiff's nice, isn't it?
Cardiff's great, yeah.
You don't ever want to have to try and get to St David's, the theatre in the middle there. It's impossible. We tried to get there once, and the only way we could get to the theatre, this guy had to come out of the theatre and drive us around the one-way system. Very difficult.
Horrible.
Bit like, can we talk about the parking permit you put in my car?
Well...
Basically, the best trick that I've seen this week is Billy Kid has the ability to park anywhere in Bath.
Anywhere in the world, almost.
Anywhere in the world, but probably shouldn't say what. Let's talk about Wizard Wars. So you were, on season 1, you were a contestant. Mm-hmm. Season 2, you were a wizard.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your performance in season 1 first. You enjoyed the process? How'd you get that gig?
I just got a call from, I don't know, I guess one of the producers, and like a casting call basically, and we're like, here's a show, are you interested? And to be honest, I was like, Wizard Wars, that sounds, am I allowed to swear? Because really censoring yourself. Okay, I'm like, that sounds like a shitty title to me.
Brilliant.
I'm like, I don't know about a show called Wizard Wars. Then they were explaining the concept, and I don't think it is aired over here, but basically they team you up with another magician who you may or may not know. It's just kind of random in that sense, and they give you just like the weirdest objects, just like, like it could be a chair, a shampoo, a carpet, and you have to create a magic act with your new partner. And on top of that, there's another set of magicians who have the same props, and then they're in the same situation, and they're creating an act, and you compete with your routines using these props.
And there's a panel of judges.
Yeah,
and
so
Penn and Teller.
Penn and Teller were the judges.
I never got this bit really. Are Penn and Teller the judges?
They are the judges, yeah.
And then there's some wizards. I don't know.
Okay, so what it is? So round 1, you compete with your partner against these other magicians with the same, and we all have the same props.
That bit's good. I like that bit.
Yeah. So whoever wins round 1 goes immediately to round 2. Now round 2, you're given new props, but instead of competing against another set of magicians, you go against the wizards, and the wizards are 4 magicians who are kind of there for all the episodes. That's why they're called the wizards. They're like the all-knowing magicians. And if you win against the wizards in round 2, then you win your prize money.
What's the money?
I think it was like, oh gosh, what was it? Like 10 or 5,000 American dollars. I didn't actually.
Oh, you didn't? You lost?
We lost.
Yeah, never mind. So what was the trick you came up with? Because I couldn't find this on YouTube. I looked.
Oh no, they were very good at not putting anything up.
Yeah.
It's very, I think I had to buy the show off of iTunes, but like the Canadian iTunes.
Oh, you got.
It's really hard to find that show online.
How are you accessing the Canadian iTunes in Bath?
I can also get the American iTunes. I got a system. God.
I'm gonna be honest, Billy. I think you're a bit dodgy.
I call it like wingle wangle. There's lots of wingle wangles you can do, but yeah. So I was able to get it off the internet, off of iTunes. So that's basically that was the premise of the show, and I hope it airs over here, because I think for magicians and just for the viewing audience, I think it was one of the most different magic shows that's been on television as of late, as far as content and style goes, because it really showcased the creativity side of what being a magician is to a lay audience, going, oh wow, there's these 2 groups of magicians doing completely different routines with the same props, whether it be shampoo, a carpet, whatever they were. And I think that was really educational to the public.
Yeah.
And it didn't expose anything either, so they really got to see.
Did you enjoy the process of coming up with magic, or would you rather just work with an existing trick and try and put your own personal touch on it?
Personally, like, in my normal show, I have existing tricks that I try to make more of my own. But that show really, I think overall, when it was all done, I could look back at it and go, wow, that show gave me so much more material to work with, in the sense of it made me a lot more braver with my own magic, going, you know what, if I could do that without a rehearsal and perform it live in front of an audience with Penn and Teller staring at you, and I'd never even touched this prop before, then it kind of made you feel like you could almost do anything. Yeah. And just like making yourself jump into those areas where you don't know what's going to happen, which that Wizard Wars, I think, to me, it went against every magician instinct we have as magicians, because it really pushed people to the extreme edge.
Yeah. What about Breaking Magic then? So for Discovery, that we've had Ben Hanlon on this podcast talk about this. There's a little bit of controversy about the fact that they do expose some of the methods sometimes.
Yeah, there was.
Tough question I've got to ask you. Do you have any ethical issues with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally against exposure, but I think this was the hard thing with doing the Discovery show is a lot of the press came out with the wrong idea of what the show was before the show came out, and they made it seem like we were exposing magic tricks. And we were, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, me and the consultants and all the other magicians in the show, we were going, no, we are taking science experiments, really. We're disguising it to look like a magic trick, purely to make people interested in science. So, and of course, it was tricky because there's some science things that are like a slight crossover into the magic world. You know, there are things like that. So that was really that was what the show was meant to be. Whether people, believe that or not, that's not up to me.
So for the people who do have a problem with it, what would you say? Because there are some magicians who do have a problem with, like you said, the crossover there.
Yeah, I would say that's totally not our intention at all. Because I don't think me, Ben, Wayne, or Nate, none of us would be involved in a show where we're like, this is an exposure show, we're just going to tell people how to do this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So this is exciting because basically coming up a little bit later this year, there's a new magic show on ITV1 that's going to be called The Next Great Magician. You are on the show. Are you allowed to say anything about it in terms of what you did on it, or because it's no secret? It's already been recorded. It's not. It's coming out, but it's all in the. It's the saying in the can. I think they say.
I think so. Yeah.
So
in the can.
You're a contestant on one of the episodes. So what did you do on the show? Are you allowed to say a little bit about what people are going to see? Or?
Yeah. So this show, I did something. Well, okay. Word of advice: if you're ever going to do a routine, and you're going to film it and you put it out there in the universe to see, make sure you still do that routine, because this is probably the third or fourth time this particular routine has come up in my life, and I got out of it except for now. So the routine I'm doing on this show involves me basically doing a trapeze act mixed with a bit of magic.
A trapeze act?
A trapeze act. And I'm not a trapeze artist or an aerialist at all.
But you're on a trapeze?
I'm on a trapeze, so it was a few months of hardcore training.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so...
I get the feeling this wasn't your idea.
Well, no, see, this is the problem. It's totally my fault. It's completely my fault, because when I first started doing magic, at the same time, some friends of mine opened up a theater school, or a circus theater school in Canada, and were like, they needed students, and I was like, sure, I'll learn how to do aerial. So just for fun, for a year, I just did, rope and silks and trapeze. And my friends were like, well, let's do a show, and can you put magic on the apparatus? I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I'm like very new into magic at this point. So I did a few routines like on the silks and the rope routine, aerial rope, and then incorporated some magic, and I did this card trick on the trapeze. And I filmed it because I would film all my shows back in the day so I could study, all my isms and bad habits. And I put this trapeze footage out in the universe, and yeah, about 3 times it's come out. I was supposed to do it on the pilot for Fool Us, actually, this routine, and got out of it then, because it was just, when you don't do trapeze in like 8 or 9 years, you can't do trapeze anymore.
Yep.
But Andrew O'Connor saw it, was like, hey, let's do the trapeze act. I'm like, okay. And literally the next day I found a trapeze coach and started training for this show. So if there's any circus people listening to this, I'm not a trapeze artist. It's
quite important to mention that, I guess, yeah. Do you like the format of the show? Did you find the voting process on it tricky, or...?
I found the voting very tricky.
So for those of you who don't know, the magicians all perform, but then the magicians themselves decide on the winner, and you score each other based on 3 different criterias: entertainment value, the pitch, the trick you'll do in the final, and star quality. Am I right?
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
Was that quite tricky to do?
Very, very tricky. I mean, first of all, because you're sitting there amongst your peers, and you're kind of voting for each other in either a really nice or a really harsh way, I guess, depending on your group. But also, if people watch the show, the magicians are voting immediately after the last act, so it's very rushed, and it was very strange. Like, you kind of, in my head, I'm like, I'd rather just vote, the highest scores for everybody all across the board, because it was, I didn't like the voting. Hated it.
What was Andrew O'Connor like to work with?
He's interesting. He knows a lot. He knows the stuff. He knows television so very well, and you kind of have to trust that, just by looking at all the stuff that he's done in the past, of course. And he helped me a lot on my routine. my routine initially. Like we changed the magic that I was doing on the trapeze. My original trapeze was actor was using a card trick basically, and this is something completely different involving jelly beans on the trapeze.
Right.
So yeah, it was good working with him, and Andy Nyman also helped on the show as well.
So Nyman helped you with your bit?
Andrew O'Connor.
Wow, so you had you had Darren's two guys in the ring that you worked on your bit. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. No, it was great. I worked with Nyman before. He helped a little bit on Breaking Magic as well.
Okay. What's he like to work with?
He's great.
Yeah.
He's fantastic to work with. He's also an actor too, so I feel like I can relate to him more in that sense.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So tell me honestly, are you the next great magician? Did you win the show?
I'm not allowed to tell you right now, Richard.
That's annoying. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Is Billy Kid's not your name, right?
No.
So where'd that name come from?
You know what? I can't even remember, to be honest. I think it came from when I started street performing. Some other performers were just like, you can't be using your real name out here on the streets.
Are we allowed to know what your real name is, or is it like top secret?
It's not a secret. It's totally out there, but I don't think anyone in this country knows who my real name is.
I don't have a clue what your real name is.
Really?
No.
You didn't do your research on this one?
Actually, I did read it somewhere.
It probably popped up somewhere.
Actually, I'll tell you what, this is going to prove I did do my research,
Okay.
because I found a page which did have your real name on it, and it was a biography about you, and at the bottom there was a guy saying, "Shame on you for using monkeys in your act." Have you seen that page
really?
about you?
No.
You need to do that. I'll see if I can find it again. It mentions somebody did a trick with a monkey, and then
Yeah, I did a trick with a monkey.
somebody wrote a comment underneath
That's
saying you
funny.
shouldn't use monkeys. Here's something I know. I won't name names. There's a dove magician I know, and he did a show recently, and some people walked out because he was using doves. Your thoughts on animals in magic acts?
I mean, it's a tough one because I love seeing animals on stage. I mean, who really doesn't? But yeah, I guess if they're not being treated that well, then
Was your monkey treated well?
my monkey's treated very well.
What did you do with the monkey?
Well, okay, I can tell the truth on this, right?
Is it
'Cause
not a
this
real
is for-
monkey?
Well, it is a real monkey, but it's not a real monkey. It's a guy in a monkey suit. But the thing is, what happens to me personally on stage is he's a real monkey. Like, it's emotional.
Okay.
Like, when I look at my monkey mask sat at home, I get sad because I miss him. But so it is a real monkey, and that it is like a living, breathing monkey.
I'm gonna find that webpage where that guy said shame on you for using monkeys, and I'm gonna send him a link to this
I wonder
podcast.
what that is. I haven't seen that.
That's unbelievable. Where would you want to be with your career in, say, like 5 years' time? If you got a plan, is there somewhere you want to go? Is there something you want to do? Or are you just happy what you're doing now, more of the same?
Do you know what? I've never had like a 5-year type of plan at all, because for me, when I'm most happy in this world, or just looking in this magic, industry, in this business, is the fact if magic is pretty much all I'm doing. If I'm still making a living just doing magic, whether I'm a billionaire or not, but even if I'm just getting by and I'm just doing magic, that to me is the happiest place.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Simple.
And what about the type of magic that you do? Obviously, you do different types of things. Is there something you'd want to do a bit more of, or?
I like all types of magic, to be honest. Like, I love performing close-up magic. That doesn't mean I like doing close-up gigs, but I love cards and I love close-up magic. But I love doing stage. I love that adrenaline rush of standing in front of a huge audience and going, okay, I'm gonna make all these people into one unit and become the best audience I can make them into. And then I also love doing streets, and streets is completely different type of magic you got to do outside than inside. So yeah, I like it all.
So tough, direct question: do you like doing close-up magic gigs?
No.
You don't?
Not anymore. No.
Do you used to?
I used to, but recently I just can't stand them.
Why?
I just find it really tedious. Just that thing, just going around the tables and breaking up people's conversations to convince them that I'm more important than whatever it is they're doing with their family or friends, and that just gets, I don't know, I think that just gets boring to me as well. And also just the environment of it is just so, it's not geared towards magic, going around a big table and everyone's doing their own thing, and then you have to communicate with everyone around this table with a centerpiece in the middle. I don't know, I just find it intrusive now, and I just kind of get bored of it.
What about street performing? You still enjoy doing that as much as ever, or?
I still enjoy it, but it's kind of a love-hate relationship. If I do it too much, then I start to hate it, and then if I don't do it at all for, a couple weeks or months, then I start to really, really miss it. But the streets is still the place where I go and practice something, anything.
So what do you do in the winter when you can't street perform in Bath? What sort of things do you do?
Well, I guess most of my time in like streets and gigging is like, I would say like 50-50. Like I'll do the streets whenever I can. In the winter time, like January, February, I usually try to go somewhere warmer and just do streets because it's just warmer.
So what, somewhere like Bournemouth or something like that?
Yeah. Cornwall is a little bit warmer than Bath as well. But yeah, no, I travel a lot basically, and basically the work takes me somewhere.
So you've done. So here's an interesting question. So you've done magic all over the world. In fact, one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at your research was I found a biography about the amount of countries you've done magic in, and I think you'd struggle to find a magician who's done magic in more countries. Really, maybe some other street performers have done more, but different places around the world take to it in different ways. What is there any countries you found where you found it particularly difficult to do magic in, where perhaps it hasn't connected very well?
Well, one of my first gigs ever was working in Japan for 6 months. I was doing an illusion show with a friend and a parlor show, and that was very interesting because it was like a 20-minute illusion show, but we made the show so we were basically equals on stage. So I wasn't doing like, chaînés and pirouettes and getting into boxes and stuff. It wasn't like, we made it very equal, and I think also just my presence on stage, I was like, okay, I'm definitely not the assistant. And it was a silent show. We weren't speaking in it, but the Japanese audience and our Japanese bosses hated it.
Oh, really?
They kept cutting me out of the show because they didn't understand why I had power on stage, and that was really, really hard.
What illusions were you doing in that then?
We were doing origami. We did wind shear as well.
Were they hooky or were they legit illusions?
They were legit.
Were they?
Yeah, they were just Blamo box. I'm trying to remember all the stuff that we did. Yeah. I mean, it was fun, but when they kept cutting things out, like my part, I was like, what's going on? It came down to the fact that we're like, they just don't like that I have presence on stage, that I'm an equal to my male counterpart.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. That was a learning experience.
You like doing
in Japan.
illusions?
I don't know. I don't like how they're usually presented. I totally love how they're made and like the science behind it all.
I think I got a way that I can make you enjoy them a bit more. Have you ever looked up Steve Wyrick on the internet? Have you ever looked him up?
I have, yeah.
He's great. You a fan?
Yeah, I haven't seen his stuff in ages, but I remember, I know his name.
He does a big
I've
fan,
seen it.
like wind shear.
Wind shear.
He does a motorbike, and what else does he do? He does a hotel lobby scene, which is good.
Oh yeah.
And also best helicopter appearance I've ever seen.
Really?
AS350. That's what you should do. Get a helicopter.
That'll be it. That my new grand finale for the streets.
Or have you seen the Ellick brothers? Have you seen them?
No.
Oh, you got to look them up.
Okay.
Brilliant.
I need to do more illusion research, but I enjoyed it, but I don't know if it was really my thing because you need another person as well.
So you got another passion, which we should talk about, because actually, as well as being an actor, you were also a musician as well, I think, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you're I can never say this word,
Ensemble.
Tell us about this.
So, okay, I don't know if anyone can relate in this country, but Halloween is like a huge thing.
Big thing, right?
Yeah, where I come from, it's huge. Like I actually found a way of getting the most sweets and candy out of every single house possible. Like, I go 6-hour trick-or-treating. Anyways, I had this business.
6 hours?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's cold there, right?
Yeah, but you prep for it. Like, you prep for a year, figure out what your costume is, how you're going to
It's
stay
a
warm.
warm costume, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, every year it changes, right? So I just knew how to trick-or-treat. Like, I was pro. All the younger kids hated me. I was, like, in my 20s still trick-or-treating. Like, seriously, like, I had it all sewn up. Anyways, long story short, one year I went out as reusable toilet paper, and I found the more you gave back to the houses, as far as your costume goes, the more sweets you would get in return. So I'd always write a little jingle that went with my costume. So I wrote this jingle about reusable toilet paper, and I gave out samples of reusable toilet paper. It was just for my Halloween costume. But somewhere in my mind, I thought people really loved it, but I thought they really thought reusable toilet paper was going to be like the next big thing. So I tried to invent reusable toilet paper, and I made a commercial for it, and I had a screening. And in my commercial, I had trained a group of my friends how to play the nose flute, and they played the theme song.
The nose flute?
Yeah, which is an actual instrument that you play with your nose. And there's many different versions of this instrument. They played this song, and at the Q&A after the screening, I was thinking, this is awesome. I just invented reusable toilet paper, and everyone wanted to know about the nose flute. So it was quite sad, and then I just did the research on the nose flute. It was like, shit, this is a real instrument. This thing exists, or it used to, but it's an instrument that even in the music industry, no one really knows about. So I was traveling all over Canada visiting these ethnomusicologists who would like train me up in more history of the nose flute. And I came back to Edmonton and was like, guys, we're gonna rehearse once a week, 2 hours. We're gonna get really, really good. And it was just a matter of time. It was like, this is before YouTube and all of that. I think I went through about 30 to 40 people in the ensemble. And
30 to 40 people?
Yeah, there was a lot of nose fluters.
That has to be a big fee for you to get...
Oh, we made no money at all.
Right.
But it was amazing. I learned a lot about marketing doing that. It was like the easiest thing to sell. You know, we were getting calls from like David Letterman and Jimmy Kimmel, like just to do all these shows. And
there's footage of this?
Not a lot, because this is like YouTube wasn't really a thing, and yeah, there's some very grainy footage out there you can find of us, but we were pretty hardcore.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so I became a conductor, an educator of this instrument. I'm not a conductor. I just bought a baton and read a book, basically.
Right. What do they actually do? Anything, those guys?
Conductors?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes they do.
What?
It's powerful, the amount of power they have in front of.
Really?
In front of musicians.
Because I went to see Phantom of the Opera, right? And there's a guy in the box there, and he's doing the thing with the baton. And I looked at those musicians; they weren't even looking at him. Maybe it's because they do Phantom every night.
It's interesting because there was a few gigs I did with my ensemble, and I was like, okay, we're down a nose fluter. What happens if I don't conduct in front of you? And
we're down a nose flute.
Someone got a cold or something. It was just really, really made me upset. But it was amazing because they couldn't perform unless I was conducting them.
They couldn't perform.
They couldn't do it. They're like, no, it's too weird if you're not conducting us. So it's like, okay, yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, no, conductors have a big job.
Can I ask you a really tough question?
Okay.
How annoying is it when someone confuses Canadian and American? Like, do you get called American? Does it irritate you?
I do, and it does.
And how can we tell the difference?
That's hard. I don't know if you can tell the difference. I don't know unless you really know the Canadian accent.
So in which case, why does it annoy you if you know it's difficult for us to be able to tell the difference?
no one ever automatically assumes you're Canadian. Everyone goes straight to, oh, you're American. I think that's why, because it's never like.
Well, it's smaller, isn't it? Or is it? Is it bigger? Is Canada bigger than America?
Population-wise, no.
No,
there's only like 33 million people in all of Canada.
There's more space, though, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more space. I don't know. I think just Canada's just you seem like a very quiet country. No one really pays attention to what's going on there.
Have you ever been to Niagara Falls?
No, never been.
Never been?
No.
I want to go there. Greg Fruin's got a show there, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, never been.
Which magicians do you really like that are kind of, around today that people would know? Is there some stuff that really... I'm just interested to get an idea of the sort of magic that you really like, really.
Which magicians do I like? I'm thinking, do I like watching? Well, we were kind of talking about it earlier. Richard McDougall is a great, fantastic magician.
Hero. Yeah.
And
I keep trying to get him on the podcast. He doesn't return my text messages.
He should.
Also, I told him, I said, you don't return my text messages, and he was very apologetic. He's like, I'm so sorry, I don't get them. And then he didn't reply to the next one either. So
well, that's a shame. But yeah, if anyone gets a chance to see him perform, he's amazing. I mean, not even just as a magician, but just as a performer. I think you can learn so much just by watching Richard perform his magic, or just being on stage. I don't know, there's a different element to it, and maybe because, I don't know, maybe he's got a different background than most people. And actually, in fact, I find watching non-magicians, like other types of performers, I think you can learn so much more on how to perform properly. It's funny, the first magic convention I ever went to was in Las Vegas, and I remember watching the competition acts, and I didn't know anything about magic then, like method-wise, everything was fooling me, but it was so educational because that was the first time I realized what I felt was good and bad magic by going to this convention and not ever seeing magic really before.
So what stuff do you hate?
What stuff do I hate?
Yeah. You'd have to name names, but what sort of, is there a certain type of magic or a certain type of act that you don't like?
Those acts that people who think that to be a good performer or a good magician, we always hear this, you gotta have you gotta have presence on stage, but I don't think a lot of people really know what that means, so people will misinterpret that by you gotta be loud
and confident. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta be really loud, or you gotta do, I don't know why magicians do this, but all of that mugging to the audience, Mugging. Do you know what I mean by mugging? Like let's say you're doing a trick here, and then you kind of force feed a reaction of the audience by like looking at them, maybe raising an eyebrow and the cheesy smile.
I won't
it's like
name
it's like a
names.
one take. Do you know what I mean?
Literally a few days ago, I sent a Snapchat to Strange of a magician with his eyebrow raised. I was like, what is this? Because actually, one of my biggest hates in magic is I hate magicians who think that magic is cool. Because I don't think it is.
No, it's totally not.
It's not cool. And so when I see a magician trying to be cool, it makes me cringe. And I think it makes most members of the public cringe as well, actually. I think there's a couple of exceptions. There's a few performers I could name who I think do look a bit cool and pull it off, but many more fail, I think.
And I think part of that too, I don't know why that's such a like stereotype of magicians generally. And I think it's just because we don't have not everyone, but I think a majority of magicians don't have any other training in anything else except just what they can do with their hands. So their voice and their physicality is completely detached from what they're actually doing, and it's covered by I have to look at the audience here, I have to do this cheesy smile or whatever that is. Do you know what I mean? And I just can't. As an actor, I can't stand watching that, and I think that's really. It's just
Did you have a little period of time where you went to all the conventions and you've been to seen lots of different magicians and stuff?
Yeah, when I first got into
It's like a
magic.
phase you came out of, though. You don't go to Blackpool anymore or anything like that.
I've never been to Blackpool.
Never been to Blackpool?
Never been to Blackpool.
You should come to Blackpool.
I think
Brilliant.
every February I'm never in this country for some reason. I've always been away.
Are you with Noel Britton with the monkeys, or are you where are
You mean
you?
his real monkeys as opposed to my
Yeah.
my pretend real monkey? I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am in February. I'm always somewhere different.
That's
It just
fair.
happens.
You should come. You should come to Blackpool if you get a chance.
Maybe
It's a
next
brilliant
year.
weekend. I do really enjoy it. Yeah. So that's interesting. So can we do word association?
Yeah.
So let's throw some names at you. Just give me your immediate responses.
Yeah. I like this game.
You ready?
No, but yeah.
Are you ready or not?
No, but I'm not supposed to be ready for word association, am I?
I guess not, actually. Andrew O'Connor.
Big cheese.
Big cheese.
Yeah, he's like the big cheese.
Oh, he's the big cheese.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that how we play word association?
Yeah, I think that's
that
right.
was the first thing that came into my head.
Gazzo.
Most imitated.
Laura London.
Inspiring.
Oh, I can see it's my show, so I can just. You guys get on quite well.
Yeah, I've only known Laura for the past couple of years, actually. We just met we were both booked at the same gig, and that was our first time meeting. It was like,
Okay.
Actually, she's probably the first female magician that I've ever met.
What magicians do you hang out with? Have you got like a little group of friends who you're close with?
No.
No, have you
No,
not?
I don't really hang out with magicians that much. No, I kind of just do my own thing.
Probably smart, to be honest.
A bunch of weirdos anyway, so
Steve Wyrick.
I have to look them up.
Your thoughts on the Magic Circle? You're not a member. Is there a reason why you're not a member?
There is a reason why I'm not a member. The main reason is I don't live in London, and
There's a train, by the way.
there is a train. I know.
It goes from
I
Bath to
just-
London.
And to me, I don't know. If I don't live in London, I don't really know what the benefit is besides I get a magazine and a coffee mug, maybe a pen.
There's
or
no
something.
coffee mug, I'm
There's
sorry
no
to
coffee
say.
Mug?
You have
Okay.
to quite know
Oh,
where you got
darn
that. We don't have the budget
I just
for
need
that.
some more convincing on that. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I think it's a great thing. I just don't see the benefit of being a member.
What was the best and worst day of your career? 2 days, obviously.
Best and worst day of my career. Oh gosh, I think the best day.
Was it when you won the Next Great Magician?
Nice try.
No, still not allowed to say anything.
This is gonna sound so cheesy, but to me the best day is just kind of like every day, as long as I'm making this happen.
Oh, that's good. That's a
yeah,
good answer.
Every day to me is just kind of normal in a good way. Like it's just just making this work and happen.
Yeah. Come on then. This is what we want. The bad day. Give us a bad day story.
Day. Okay, there's one gig that comes to mind that was like probably one of the worst gigs ever in the history of mankind.
Was it the Next Great Magician?
Oh God, is Andrew listening to this? No, no. I just moved here and I got booked. It was like on some military base somewhere, and they were all drunk before they came in, and I was supposed to do, I was supposed to do like a 45-minute show. Ended up being 10, because they were just the most horrible people that I think Gaza was doing this gig with me as well. We were supposed to be doing 2 stage sets, and they were just like swearing at us. One guy actually went behind us and like pushed us off the stage without us knowing. It was like horrific. It was one of those. It was so bad that the organizer came up to me after. She just gave me the money. She's like, "You can leave. They're terrible. Just leave. Take the money and go." And I later found out. I wish I should have remembered where this place was, so nobody ever goes to work there ever again. But I found out that every single year they hire a different act, whether it's a comedian, a singer, magician, and it's always the same, and no one can ever get through their set. It's that bad. I think that was probably the worst day ever I've had. But I mean, that's just one gig.
So I'm fascinated by you because you're not like any other magician I've interviewed here, and like you said, how you don't sort of have a group of friends of a magician. You sort of do your own thing, and there's all the acting stuff. So tell me, like, what's a day like for you? Like a normal day, like say tomorrow, if you're not working. Let's say you don't have a close-up gig in the evening, or you're not doing a TV thing. What would a day be for Billy Kid?
Pretty much my entire day consists of just working on magic for my show or my street show. Like, for our theater in here, so my indoor show and my street show, constantly just working on presentations and tricks basically, and practicing. Like, that's pretty much all I do.
And what do you like doing for like fun stuff, like when you're not working?
When I'm not working, I really am a big dancer, so I dance.
Oh, you dance?
Yeah, I dance a lot, as much as I can.
What sort of thing?
Hip hop, ballet, and tap.
Hip hop?
Yeah.
What's hip hop dancing?
Hip hop. You know what hip hop is?
Why do you make some funny gesture with your two hands there?
Shizzle my nizzle,
that's Snoop Dogg, isn't it?
Yeah, shizzle my nizzle. It's a big nip tizzle, Snoopy D-O double jizzle.
That's a good place to wrap it up, I think. That's interesting. So we also have a final question. What do you think is the biggest problem with magic today, and how could it be fixed? Do you have a solution?
Oh God, I wish I had a solution. I think one of the biggest problems in magic today is funny enough how easy it can be to become a magician for some, because you can just buy a self-working trick and literally call yourself a magician and make a very fancy website and that's that. And I think because there's so many more people who have access to magic, which is a great thing because of the internet and whatnot, but I think the downside of that is no one's actually putting the time and effort to become, the best magician that they possibly can. And I think it's just lack of education in that kind of magic and performing world. I think if magicians were more well-rounded in all aspects of performance, you would see such more stronger magicians and performers in general, for me.
This has been great. Let the record be shown, I did not hit on you. You can confirm that. I did not hit on you, did I?
Well,
you can't.
No, you did it.
I did not. I got a reputation. I'm trying to be a gentleman. I did not hit on you. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
So
it's been great fun. I'm still in a great mood, so it's been terrific. Billy Kid, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was Billy Kid. If you'd like to follow her on Twitter, she is at Billy Kid Show. Her website is the same at billykidshow.com. Thanks very much for listening. I will see you again next Friday for another brand new episode of the Magicians Podcast. Have a great week. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.